Hello and welcome! In this video, my friend and I will survive 100 days in Minecraft modded Duo, but with a twist. Every 10 days, a new mod will be added to the world, giving us much to explore as time goes on. Along with this, the Nether will be locked until day 21, and the End will be locked until day 91. If you end up enjoying this video, we have a modded multiplayer series being released very soon that you won't want to miss. The series will feature new mods that are added to the world as the series goes on. But without further ado, enjoy the video. On day 1, Esteban and I joined the world, excited for the adventure ahead. The first mod to be installed was the Moog Structures mod, bringing various structures to the world around us. It didn't take long for us to find one of the smaller structures. Once it had been looted, we started gathering wood from the forest to make some tools. I waited for Esteban to make a crafting table so I didn't have to use any of my wood. And after I made a wooden pickaxe, I began mining stone from another structure. Our goal was to try to complete as many advancements as we could. But to do so, we would need to work together. As I was walking, a huge tree spawned from one of the saplings we had planted. I refused to chop it down and kept going. We ended up finding a cave not long after and mined as much coal as we could find. I started to get hungry, so Esteban gave me some of his potatoes so I wouldn't starve. Then we treated the crafting bench as a dining table and took some time to eat our meal. Day 1 was quickly coming to an end, so we rushed to find as many sheep as we could for beds. I gave Esteban some of my wool, then I found a rose and dyed my bed so I could sleep, marking the end of day 1. On day 2, we noticed the wandering trader turned off his invisibility and we decided to see his trades. As soon as we saw he was trading Nautilus shells, we immediately took away his freedom to roam around, trapping him in the dirt. We found a great flat and spacious area to start building our base, and discussed how the house should look. Once we came to a decision, we started building. I quickly retrieved our beds and placed them in our home, marking the end of day 2. On day 3, we got more wood, then went exploring and found 12 blocks of obsidian in one of the chests. We wouldn't be able to go to the Nether as it's locked until day 21, so we held on to them. We constructed the roof of our house, then looked around our area for some nearby ores. It didn't take us long to find our first pieces of iron. We know you shouldn't mine at night, but we wanted to keep exploring, so we ignored the moon in the sky and went looking for caves. Our venture was rewarded well as we found a very big cave and went down to collect some iron for armor and weapons. On day 4, the sun was up and we collected lots of sand for glass. We then explored another structure which had many ores. Then I saw a massive tower in the distance. We weren't sure what dangers were up ahead, so we headed back home to smelt our iron. On the morning of day 5, we made some windows, then I took a minute or two to enjoy the scenery outside while Esteban gathered more wood. Once we had crafted our armor, we went to kill some mobs for experience and loot. Day 6 was mostly us working on the attic and basement of our house, making the basement where we could enchant and have our nether portal and use the attic as our storage space. On day 7, we spent the majority of the day organizing things and decorating our house the best we could. And on day 8, we organized our chests. Once it was night, we once again broke Minecraft's don't mine at night rule, going deeper into the massive cave we found now that we had iron armor. As soon as we entered the cave, we found 2 skeletons fighting one another. I called dibs on challenging the winner and absolutely annihilated them. While lighting a cave up, one of their friends took revenge and pwned me into the lava. I didn't have enough time to eat, and so I had my first death. I'm not sure how we missed them, but I found diamonds on my way back to the mine. We found more after this and decided to leave the rest of the diamonds we found for when we got Fortune 3. We spent the rest of day 9 getting rocks for building the basement and also got some copper for spy glasses. Day 10 was very rewarding for Esteban. He used the bones we collected from the cave and got a dog. I tried doing so after him, but the wolf was stubborn and refused to be my friend. I'll find one someday. We then ventured through the giant structure we saw earlier and were faced by many skeleton spawners. We put up lights so that they wouldn't spawn and were very pleased to see many bookshelves for our enchanting table as well as a lodestone. I decided to check the roof of the structure and to my surprise, there was loot. The items were very good, giving us saddles, diamond gear, and enchanted books. As soon as we reached the house, it was day 11. That means it's time for another mod. The second mod added to our world is the Dungeons Weaponry mod. This introduces many different and powerful unique weapons from Minecraft dungeons as well as a few mobs from the game. While mining, I went through JEI to see the weapons that were added to the game, and it was amazing to see the abilities that each weapon provided. While fighting mobs at night, we encountered our first dungeons mob, the Enchanter. We didn't know what its main ability was at the time, so it was quite easy to defeat. On day 12, we worked on the interior of the basement below with our polished rocks, and then built some of the nether portal, which turned out to look like a smiley face. And then Esteban ruined it, and I don't even know what to call it anymore. When night came, we found another dungeons mob, and this one was much more difficult than the Enchanter. We grinded for some more experience levels until the crack of dawn, then looked at our enchantment levels when we got home. Esteban could get Fortune 3, so I shot the mobs with arrows so Esteban could get more XP to reach level 30. We kept getting experience on day 14, and here's me getting jump scared by a creeper. Oh! We ended up finding out what the enchanter does. It makes the mobs around it stronger, so as long as it can find no mobs, it's powerless. On day 15, we farmed as many potatoes as we could with our bone meal and cooked them for lots of food and experience. Esteban finally got 30 levels and enchanted his iron pickaxe with Fortune 3. I should have specified using a diamond pickaxe, but an iron one will do. We started decorating the nether portal entrance, and even though we're not the best at decoration, we were quite proud of it. We decided to continue our streak of going mining at night and went to mine some diamonds with the Fortune 3 pickaxe until this happened. Oh shoot, you have the pickaxe?
It's in the chest.
Shoot!
But you got it.
Okay, let's go.
Crap. Okay, great. Let's go back.
We retrieved the pickaxe and mined all the diamonds we could find and collected a total of 36. We fought monsters all night until we reached level 30, made some diamond gear, enchanted it, and were very pleased with the result. On day 17, we went to the lodestone in our home and set our compasses to the block. Then we went on a journey to find some dungeons weapons. We stopped by the ruined portal to get some crying obsidian for a respawn anchor and found another wolf in the process. This one wanted to be my friend, but only if I gave him all the bones I had. We came across a snowy tundra biome and tried to go across, but we quickly ended up getting stuck in the snow. The only way to solve this problem was to get some leather boots so when we go in the snow, we wouldn't fall in. So on day 18, I searched for some cows and made some leather boots while Esteban found some in the village. Then we made our way back to the snowy terrain and could walk across with ease. We traveled for almost a full day and discovered a shipwreck under the ice. Esteban forgot he needed to breathe and spawned back in the village. So I put all his stuff in the chest, and once we got back on day 18, we continued our journey. We spotted another tower up in the sky and climbed our way up to find some very nice armor and weapons. We decided to explore the cave next door and found some sculk blocks. I ignored all the warnings and immediately crafted a hoe to farm some experience. At this point, we may have traveled too far down the cave and decided it would be best to get out quickly before the warden could chase us down. Once we had escaped, we found a structure that stored dungeons weapons. We found our first dungeon's weapon, the Highland Axe, which stuns enemies. Esteban took this weapon while I would get the next one. This must be where the ruler slept. We got ready to attack, and it's not a boss. If I can enchant this to the highest power, I'll have the equivalent of a power 6 bow. We headed back home and found more obsidian. Oh, and there's also a floating house in the sky. I finally got my amethyst for a spyglass. Still find it strange to have this under your house when you're 100 blocks up in the air though. At long last, on day 20, we reached our home sweet home. The next day was day 21, so this means a new mod has been added to the world. The third mod added to our world was the Bygone Nether mod, adding new structures and mobs to the game. And with this, the Nether has been unlocked for us to explore. The first thing we did on day 21 was craft spyglasses. We spent the next couple minutes staring at each other through the lens. I enchanted my power bow to power 4 and was able to enchant a diamond pickaxe to fortune 3. On day 22, I made my bow overpowered, adding unbreaking 3 and infinity. And you know, with every overpowered weapon, you gotta give it a cool name. The time has come to enter a new dimension. We lit up the portal and went in. We made a tunnel to safe ground, and I immediately got some glowstone for respawning. While in the nether, we encountered a wildfire, off from the dungeons mod. It didn't take us long to find out how strong it was, so we shot it from a distance and collected its blaze rods. On day 23, we found out quickly that wearing gold may be a good idea when traveling in the nether, and so we went back to the overworld to get some gold boots and continued our journey. On day 24, we found our first bygone structure, the Piglin Manor. Other than finding a piece of ancient debris, the house was pretty useless. But after some more looking around, we found another piece of ancient debris next to a spawner. The last mob I was expecting was a brute, and I immediately got swarmed. I survived with barely any health left, but that didn't stop us. Esteban shot the last brute into the lava, and I mined the 2 ancient debris the pigs were guarding. With our efficiency 4 pickaxes, we figured it would be a good time to go strip mining for some more ancient debris. We spent the next 4 days getting as much as we could, even though there was lots of lava blocking our paths. And on day 30, we found some soul sand. In hopes of finding a new structure from the Bygone mod, we went back up and dug over to the biome. It's now day 31, meaning that a new mod has been added. The 4th mod to be added to this world is the Lucky Blocks mod. These blocks will now spawn in every vanilla biome with a random result. Some are good, while others are quite brutal. I took out one of my ghats with my one-shot bow Bullseye, but one of their friends didn't like what I did and tricked me to fall down a hole to my doom. I somehow managed to snipe myself in the air with my own bow, causing that very weapon to fall in the lava. Seeing that we both needed some more XP, we decided to go back to the Skulk Farm. We took some saddles we found in the towers to tame some horses, then went back to the cave. We found some lucky blocks on the way. One of them was TNT, while the other one was a lucky bow. Bringing horses on this trip was not a good idea. I'm not sure why we thought they could get through the snow. We dug our way back to the cave and destroyed many of of the warden spawners so we could begin collecting the experience. As we were exploring the cave, a ring of red surrounded it. This was an attack from the Geomancer, a dungeons mob that spawns in deserts and mountainous regions. We defeated him and not long after, found an ancient city. Not knowing how many spawners there were, we tried to break as many as we could, then this happened. While my piggy was being shattered from the pressure of the shift key, I shot an arrow away from me to distract the warden. I was able to make it out, but Esteban ran out of blocks and could not escape its sonic blast. I noticed the two wardens were distracted by the skulk sensor they themselves were setting off, so I went and collected Esteban's items. I still wanted levels, so I spent the next few days grinding as much skulk as I could, but then I set off a warden trap and in fear, I immediately began digging it. The warden heard me in the walls and shot his sonic blast at me. But thankfully, I had enough golden apples to keep me alive until I reached the surface. Even after the attack, I still wasn't going to give up getting more XP, so I destroyed as much skulk as I could, and on day 36, I finally made it back to the house in one piece. I put Esteban's armor in a chest and went to look for some more biomes while searching for ancient debris. A couple more days passed, and I finally found another Soul Sand Valley. But there was no catacomb structure in sight. On day 41, it was time yet again for a new mod. The 5th mod installed in our world was the Mobs of Mythology mod, adding new mobs that we would encounter during our adventures. I crafted some more netherite ingots and got 7 in total, but in order to upgrade to netherite armor, we would still need to get the netherite upgrade smithing templates. I also tried to disenchant the diamond boots with Curse of Vanishing and was disappointed to find out that you can't do that. So I made a trip to the nether and said farewell to the boots and went on with my day. We went back to the caves on day 42 and spent the whole day searching for diamonds. We continued searching on day 43 until we heard a strange sound coming from somewhere in the cave. It wasn't until Esteban saw the mob that I realized my sword had been taken out of my hand. We chased after the creature and got my sword back. Moral lesson: don't steal from us. We will find you. By day 44, we found a total of 54 diamonds, so we called it a day and went back to the house. We enchanted some of our gear on day 45, and I enchanted 2 diamond swords. This will do us well in the battles ahead. We still needed to find another fortress so we could make potions, so we got ready for the adventure and traveled far. On day 46, we encountered one of the new mobs called a chupacabra. It's tough, but not strong enough for us. On day 47, we saw some bricks. We were so excited to finally find a piglin manor. Well, beggars can't be choosers. We take it back. We're very happy to have found this manor. Now we can make netherite armor. And wouldn't you know it, another fortress was only a couple hundred blocks away from the manor. This was going to be a very rewarding journey. At long last, netherwort and blaze rods have been acquired, and it only took us 48 days. It would be a shame to lose all the items we just got, so we dug back to our home underground, searching for ancient debris along the way. We got back on day 49 and immediately duplicated the netherite upgrade. I used it on my diamond leggings, and Esteban used his on his diamond chestplate. We definitely won't be finding another fortress for a while, so on day 50, we made sure we wouldn't run out of our valuable potion making resource. It's time for a new mod. On day 51, the 6th mod to be added to our world was the Twilight Forest mod. This mod adds a completely new dimension to explore with lots of great loot. We set up the portal around a nice patch of grass. You need to throw a diamond in to activate this portal, and that's what we did. Not long after we entered, we saw a large tower in the distance. Guess that's our first destination. It seems that there's some sort of barrier blocking our way. We can't even break into the tower, so there must be something we're missing. Oh, look at that, a creature with a book. Well, don't mind if we do. Looks like we'll need to find a courtyard to kill a snake. Hopefully this isn't too hard to find. Note to self, when traveling in new locations, it may be best to not go through green looking rain falling from the sky. We kept traveling on day 52 and found a new structure. We went to look around and found a chest. We got an item called Charm of Keeping One. This item is very useful. If a person dies, they keep their armor and items in both hands when they respawn. On day 53, we found a very mysterious and dark biome. I wonder what we'll find. Nothing. We will find nothing. In fact, there's literally nothing to see. It may be best to stay away from that biome for now, unless we get something that will let us see in that dark. We came across a structure with a quest ram. It seemed to want our help with something, so we weren't worried about it attacking us. We found a dispenser which gave out wool. By right-clicking the quest ram with the wool, it formed a pattern around its body. Looks like we're going to need to give it every color. It took us all the way until day 54, but we finally did it. The quest was complete. We got a bundle with 1 block of every ore along with the quest ram trophy. On day 55, we finally found it, the courtyard. We found our way in and encountered the snake boss. It was a pretty easy fight. It would have taken more than that to get through our diamond armor. We got the trophy and made our way back to the tower. With the curse broken, it was time to see what lies at the top of the structure. We found a flying book that attacked us with slowness. It's not very harmful. just very annoying. We made our way back to the top of the tower and fought the Lich. No matter how many times we hit it, we could not damage its shield. It took us a while to figure out we needed to deflect its projectiles back at us. Then its shield would start breaking. We got a very powerful weapon. This was the Lich's Scepter. By right-clicking it, we can have shields around us, just like the Lich does. This weapon is so OP that on day 56, we decided to find another tower so that we could have 2 scepters, one for each of us. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Scepter fortification, but the Zombie Scepter instead. It spawns in zombies to help you for a short time. Not the worst, but definitely not as good as the one with shields. We decided we wanted more loot, so we went on a hunt for the Snow Queen. We weren't sure exactly where she was, but going through the snow biome would be our best chance. We spent a day going through the biome and found a colorful rainbow pillar. Upon reaching the pillar, Esteban told me the ice was beginning to form around my body. The advancements told us that we needed full fur armor in order to cross the barrier, so we went and attacked as many dogs and yetis as we could in the biome. The one problem is that we put on a Curse of Binding armor earlier, and we had many levels, so for the rest of day 57, we traveled back home and enchanted our gear. We then asked the mobs to kindly slay us so we could wear a full suit of fur armor, and they obeyed. Esteban had over 40 levels, so for day 58, we went through his enchantment options and got the best results. Then on day 59, we got lots of potatoes and cooked them for more levels and food. Seeing that we needed more diamonds, we went to mine in the Twilight Forest on day 60. The Y level starts at around 4, so finding diamonds would hopefully be easier to get. We found some diamonds after a while, but what was really shocking was how much iron and coal there was. It felt like it would never end, but that's when we realized that this cave was filled to the brim with ores. We also found a chest which had the uncrafting table. This would be very useful to have. Once we had a stack of iron and coal blocks, we went back to the surface to store our findings, marking the end of day 60. Day 61 is here, which means it's time for a new mod. The 7th mod to be added to the game is the Mystic Potions mod. This mod adds a plethora of new potions to the game that will help us in difficult situations. When we got back home, we used the uncrafting table and discovered we can uncraft the diamond armor with Curse of Binding. This gave us diamonds based on the durability. On day 62, we discovered that there was a potion called Air Swim and requires a Nautilus shell. We went to visit the wandering trader we kidnapped and took his entire stock of shells so we could brew the potions later. We still want another scepter fortification, so we went looking for a tower but found a strange ice cave instead. This wasn't any ordinary ice cave. As soon as we went in, the Alpha Yeti spawned. The fur that the Alpha Yeti gives is pretty good. It's around diamond level. If we get more fur, it may be worth wearing. We found another tower to try to find the scepter fortification, but maybe it would have been better to wear good armor instead of the fur for this battle. Now that was much better. We got another scepter of fortification. We're now ready for anything. We made our way back to the ice wall and built to the top and found some cute penguins waiting for us. Yeah, we might have to find an entrance. These walls are tough. There were many chests to loot and they contained some great things. If we get 4 Charm of Keeping 1s, we can make it into a Charm of Keeping 2 that will keep our armor and everything in our hotbar. We got some other items like the Ender Bow that can swap places with you and another mob, an Ice Bow that freezes mobs, and an Ice Sword, which probably also freezes mobs. We couldn't find the Snow Queen inside of the tower, so we broke out and aimed for reaching the highest tower in hopes that she would be there. On day 64, we almost reached the top until I fell down. It was a close call. All those years of Bed Wars finally paid off. The Snow Queen was inside this tower. We put up our shields and fought the Snow Queen. Its attacks didn't seem too difficult, and with the Power 5 bow, this battle would be over quickly. Once the queen was defeated, we looted the chest and found the Seeker Bow, which shoots homing arrows at mobs. We spent the rest of day 64 looking in the chest and found 2 amazing items. The first item was Charm of Life 1. It's pretty much the same as the Totem of Undying, so it would be good to have on all times. The next item we found has to be one of the best weapons I've ever seen, the Glass Sword. It does 42 attack damage, which is great for bosses, but it has 1 durability. We'll have to see if we can enchant it with Unbreaking 3 and Mending in hopes we can use it more than once. On day 65, we did some enchanting and organizing, and on day 66, we brewed the Air Swim potions. We decided to use 2 of them for fun and soar the skies. Needless to say, it was a blast. On day 67, we decided it was time to get more netherite upgrading smithing templates. So we got our fire resistance and respawn anchor and went searching. It took us over a day to find, but on day 68, we finally found a Bastion remnant. We had to be very careful. Our respawn anchor was back at the Nether Fortress, and we were a couple hundred blocks away, so having to come back here would not be fun. We hunted down the brutes until none of them remained, but realized it would be wiser to have the respawn anchor next to the structure. So on day 69, we went back to get it and placed it right next to the wall. We reached the middle of the bastion and found what we were looking for, the netherite upgrading smithing template. It came with some diamond helmets too. The scepter helps a lot with fighting brutes. The shields make their axes worthless. Once we got enough loot, we called it on day 70 and headed back home. It was day 71 while we were walking back home, and so it is time for a new mod. The 8th mod to be added to our world was the Mutant Creatures mod. We needed to make sure no mutants spawned near our home, so when we got back to the base, we immediately went to sleep. We spent all of day 72 placing torches around our house so that no mutants would spawn near it, especially any mutant creepers. On day 73, we upgraded more of our armor to netherite, making ourselves much stronger for the battles to come. Now that we're stacked, it was time to find some mutants. We set our travels to the north on day 74 and went exploring. We found many lucky blocks on our travels. Unfortunately, Esteban didn't get the best result. It's a good thing we set a bed. On day 75, we came across a village and decided to make a weaponry table to get some dungeon's weapons from one of the villagers. During the night, we encountered our first mutant boss. We prepared ourselves to fight it, but the iron golem had it covered and single-handedly destroyed the skeleton. On day 76, we took a look at the villager's trades and saw he has some legendary items for sale. We were short on emeralds, so we quickly went home to get some more and came back on day 77. Esteban traded them in and got the Frost Scythe, probably one of the coolest weapons I've ever seen. We continued traveling and found a cave. We went down to see if we could find any diamonds, but were instead welcomed by a mutant zombie. Its smashdown attack deals a lot of damage, but we were able to defeat it with ease. At nighttime, we found another mutant, the Creeper. We shot it a couple of times with our OP bows and were able to retrieve the Creeper, which could make some X-chemical potions for later. We called it on day 80 and used the nether to travel back home, then we organized the loot in our chests and prepared for the next mod. Another 10 days have passed, which means it's time for a new mod. The 9th mod to be added to our world is the Traveler's Backpack mod. This mod allows you to craft a backpack for extra storage, which would come in handy for going to the end. Esteban crafted a spider backpack to travel up walls, while I crafted an enderman backpack, allowing me to have an extended reach. While searching for more leather, we encountered another mutant creeper. This one dropped an egg! This would mean that we could bring it home and care for it and... never mind. On day 82, we applied some upgrades to our backpacks. I love the idea of being able to craft and have a furnace in your inventory, but being able to eat food automatically right from your inventory had to be the best upgrade of them all. On day 83, Esteban accidentally dropped his sword and I was about to combine it with my own, but he threatened to shoot the lucky bow, so I decided to give it back. Our armor was good enough to take on many bosses, so on day 84, we headed towards the Nether Fortress to find some Wither skeleton skulls to defeat the Wither. It was a very long path to get there, so we started building a railway so that the travel would be much easier in the future. We were able to get all 3 Wither skulls on day 85, as it was much easier to get them with looting too. We spent all of day 86 preparing for the fight, then on the morning of day 87, we went to a cave and summoned the Wither. Thankfully, the Wither was chasing Esteban the entire time, so it made it much easier for me to deal damage. Esteban got the final hit and we obtained the Nether Star. On day 88, we decided to keep exploring the Twilight Forest. We discovered an underground fortress which could be unlocked with a boss trophy and searched for the Night Phantom. We checked every room possible and encountered new mobs, as well as rooms with floating ores, until we finally found the Night Phantom on day 89. We went to loot the chest when the foe had fallen and found some night metal armor. This armor had the same strength as netherite, so we kept it for later use. On day 90, we found another Phantom Knight and got lots more great loot and armor. Then, we headed back home. On day 91, the final mod was added to the game. The mod added was the True Ending mod. This mod overhauls the Ender Dragon fight, making it more challenging to defeat. This also means that the end is unlocked. With only 10 days remaining, we needed to move fast. The Enderman backpack had to go, so I looked at the other backpacks and I found the Creeper backpack. This one helped the player when they were about to die. It needed 1 creeper head, so when it was nighttime, Esteban and I used the lucky bow to try to summon a charged creeper. Esteban got unlucky with one of his shots and he blew up. We were able to cover most of his items, but his backpack was gone. That still didn't stop us from getting that creeper head. Esteban shot from far away and lightning struck the ground. We got a normal creeper to get blown up by the charged creeper and got the final recipe for the backpack. On day 92, I crafted the creeper backpack and put it on. Esteban decided to change his too and got the squid backpack so he wouldn't drown again. On day 93, it was time for us to search for the end portal. We threw the first Eye of Ender and set sail for the seas. We encountered a geomancer in the desert and it dropped a unique bow on death. Apparently this bow shoots arrows that grow in size and damage. We tested this bow out by shooting an arrow in the sky and the result was insane. We located the stronghold on day 94 under the water and dug down to search for the portal. It took us half a day of searching, but on day 95, we finally found it. We took turns placing the Eyes of Ender, then jumped into the portal. The end had a few different features than the vanilla version. There were purple lines in the sky and mutant endermen all around the arena. The mutant enderman killed Esteban and he was trapped when he respawned, so I had to give him some blocks without being thrown off the edge. It took a while to kill the mutant, but now that they were out of the way, we could finally focus on the ender dragon. Destroying the crystals were simple, but the dragon was apparently targeted on Esteban. No matter what we did, we couldn't seem to get Esteban his stuff without immediately dying. Here's a compilation of all his deaths. Oh! Okay, run. Down like that, there's a... Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh! No, watch out! The ender dragon was low, so I ran to where he purged and swung my axe. But when his health dropped to 0, the ender dragon was pulsing in the air, as if it refused to die. We waited a couple of minutes, and then I had an idea. I used my air swim and went up to the ender dragon. With one swing of my sword, the ender dragon was defeated. But while we were celebrating, something completely unexpected happened. I was losing damage unexpectedly in the dark. I was torn. It appears I had fallen in the void and lost everything. Or so I thought. Before leaving our house, I had crafted a Charm of Keeping 2 out of 4 Charm of Keeping 1s, meaning that when I respawned, I kept all my armor and everything in my hotbar. My weapons, especially my bow, were saved. I jumped back in the portal and we went to find an end city. On day 97, we found some of Mook's structures in the end. They contained a bed, which was dangerous, but also some great diamond gear and weapons. It took us most of the day, but we finally found a city. We climbed up the tower using the parkour and robbed the chest of their loot. Our next task was to find an end ship, which was close to the city we were at. We lost all our swim potions from the ender dragon fight, so we took the risk and pearled to the ship. Esteban ended up missing and going to the ground, but I got on and was able to retrieve the elytra. I also went for the dragon head for the ender dragon backpack, but I couldn't pick it up, and so it fell in the void. I tried jumping down for it, but it was no use. On day 99, Esteban was collecting more ender pearls, but got attacked by too many endermen and was killed. I went to bring all the important items that we had collected, and went through one of the remote gateways back to the portal. We got the dragon egg from the top of the portal using a torch, and finally went through the portal, being teleported to where it all began. On day 100, we set up the beacon and decided to spend the rest of the day soaring through the skies. Esteban took the air swim, so I took the elytra. As we went higher up, we looked at the world we had created as we flew into the sunset. It was beautiful. Once Esteban's potions had run out, we climbed on the top of the big tree and watched the sunrise one last time. And that is the end of our 100-day adventure.